Hey guys, welcome back to Spooky Tuesday, a weekly podcast where we're breaking down all of our favorite slashers, thrillers, monster movies, and black comedies on the new scariest day of the week. I'm Sydney Thompson.
I'm Monica Height.
And I'm Chelsea Jeff.
And this week, ya girls got our asses into an actual movie theater for the second time to watch a horror movie. And that movie stars friend of the pod, Ethan Hawke.
Our dear pal, Ethan
Our
Hawke.
close personal friend.
Monica's besties with what? Steve Martin and who's the other Steve?
And Martin Short.
And Martin Short. Yes. And
they're a pair. They're a matched set.
Of course.
I am besties with Ethan Hawke.
Yeah.
Of course. And we're covering his new movie, The Black Phone.
Amazing.
Yeah. And this is a collaboration between Ethan Hawke and the same director, Scott Derrickson, who did Sinister. So y'all know I'm a Sinister girly.
I do love Sinister.
That makes sense. I was talking with my friend who I saw it with, and we were like, why did Ethan Hawke do this movie? There's not that much of him.
That's why.
This movie needed a little more Ethan Hawke, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. So again, because this movie is new, for the people that have not seen it, The Black Phone is no, don't pause now. Let me tell you what it's about, and
she's
then
telling you. She's
I'm so sorry.
And then
I'm so sorry. Okay,
so The Black Phone is after being abducted by a child killer and locked in a soundproof basement, a 13-year-old boy starts receiving calls on a disconnected phone. Okay, this is actually like a whole spoiler. And again, okay, so if you've never seen it, pause right now before I finish this. 1, 2, 3. Okay, you had fair warning from the killer's previous victims.
Bro, that's in the trailer. It's in the trailer.
Oh, is it? I didn't watch anything to prepare. I just went to the theater.
Yeah, it's like going into it, I was like, I know that a kid gets abducted and he is trying to get out with the help of the ghosts of the dead kids who came before him. So that's what I knew going into it.
That's a spoiler. I hate when trailers give too much away.
Yeah.
I guess what else would they say about this movie though, other than Scary Man and Mask?
That's all you need.
Like child abduction. It could have been just child abduction and leave it at that. But I mean, maybe they needed to introduce the paranormal element so people weren't like, I came here for a strictly child abduction movie. What is this paranormal
I'm only here
paranormal shit out of here.
Dear God.
Yeah, I mean, I think Rebecca saw it like right when it came out and reported back that it was a period piece, and that was all I knew. I think.
Yeah, she was like thrown off that it was a period piece.
Present. Yeah. And then I was like, oh, okay, so there's no jump to present. That was the entirety of the information I had.
That was probably my favorite part of the entire movie, was the fact that it was set in the 70s. Because I forgot that, and then I dressed very 70s today because I literally saw this movie. I finished watching it. I got home an hour ago, so I just saw it, really cutting it close here.
So fresh, so recent,
so
to the brain,
so clean. Yeah, so haven't really fully had any thoughts about it. So this will be like fresh off the dome, unfiltered. That said, yeah, like the fashion was like probably the nicest part for me, and the hairstyles. I think they did a really good job with the, like, you know, setting it in that setting. Sometimes you do a half-ass job where you don't, like, you're like, oh, what era is this? If you close your eyes for the second one, it says July 18th, 1973 or whatever, then you're fucked. But this one, it's like very, very clear. The fashion was on point. I want every single one of the sisters' outfits. I was like, I know she is a child. Gwen has got the fashion on lock. Okay. Also, she's the greatest character in this film.
Yes, hands down.
But yeah, it was sad.
It was pretty depressing.
It was super sad.
This movie I didn't find scary, but it did make me very stressed. But it did not make me more stressed than Top Gun Maverick. And I know this because I wore my Apple Watch to both of them, and so it detected my heart rate, and my heart rate had like crazy spikes during Top Gun, and this one not as bad.
I think maybe that should be a regular segment going forward. You have to wear your Apple Watch while you're watching the movies, and then you have to let us know comparatively how scary was it.
Compared to Top Gun. I need you to take a screenshot.
Top Gun Maverick. I don't know if I can because it was on.
Take a picture on your phone. Take a picture on your phone of the watch. So
can you
save
go back?
the data.
Can you go back? Because I watched it like
you're the one with the watch.
I don't know. Go into your health app. I think it's saved in your health app, and you can check it out on there. This will be a hilarious new segment here on Spooky Tuesday. Did it spook Sydney more?
Was I more stressed
than Top Gun Maverick?
More, or that's the bar.
That's the baseline.
Top Gun Maverick.
Top Gun Maverick?
Then I have to see Top Gun Maverick in order to know.
You have to go see Top Gun Maverick. It was incredible. This is and at some point I will make us do it on a fifth Tuesday because it was incredible, and it was incredible. That's all I'm gonna say. Back to
the Top Gun Maverick podcast.
This is the Top Gun Maverick podcast.
No propaganda for Top Gun Maverick.
Big news. We're rebranding to Top Gun Maverick Tuesday.
You guys thought that we
Top
were
Gun
a
Tuesday.
Podcast? Guess what? This is our third redo, our third makeover.
If you speak ill of Tom Cruise on this podcast, you're gonna catch these hands.
Me, Tom Cruise.
There's a lot of things you could say about Tom.
Yeah, I don't. We do have one listener though who is a firm Tom Cruise defender.
Oh yeah,
and that's one of my galleys out there who I've fought with on many occasions about, and I'd like to post this to the listeners at some point. If you think that ADA Rafael Barba from Law and Order SVU is hotter than Tom Cruise, let me know, because that's the correct answer. But if you don't agree, be quiet and keep it to yourself.
This is a little spicy look into the types of DMs that we get here at Spooky Tuesday. They're varied and
we love all
exciting.
Of them.
We love them. Most of them. We've gotten some weird ones. But anyway, okay. The cast of characters for this movie. We've got the main character is Finney, played by Mason Thames. And one thing I want to say about this movie, I'm going to have a lot of critiques for it, but the kids are all really good. They're like good at being little actors. They're so cute. I love them. Great job, kids.
Did you know that the kid actors, Gwen, her sister plays little Nell in Haunting of Hill House on Netflix?
It's a horror family.
Yeah.
That's cute.
That's so cool.
I was like, I love that. Like a family of little spooky queens.
Shouts out to Madeline McGraw and her sister that I don't know what her name is. Good
Violet.
for them both. Lila?
Aww.
Violet.
Oh, dude. Violet?
Violet.
She also voiced Bonnie in Toy Story 4. Oh my God.
I know.
Also, Madeline was on an episode of Criminal Minds Supremacy once again. I have not seen her episode yet.
Again.
But God. This movie's so sad. I'm sorry. I'm still sad. I'm just still reeling from it.
Yeah.
But I really like the way that it started out. Like, you're like, oh, I'm having fun. I'm in the 70s. It's baseball. It's summer. All these kids are cute. Like, I loved the little interaction between Bruce and Finney after Bruce gets a home run, despite Finney's, incredible pitching skills. He's a great little pitcher. Good for him.
His arm is mint.
His arm is mint. They got the vernacular down in this too. There are some incredible lines in this movie that I couldn't tell you because I couldn't write things down because I was in the movie theater. But a lot of great use of expletives, I would say, by children, which I always love.
Oh, I love kids cursing. It's truly one of my favorite things on the face of the planet.
I like kids cursing. I did feel that the movie relied really heavily on that as a gag.
Yes, it did.
And it was a little schlocky for me personally. It felt very like we saw this over a decade ago with Kick-Ass when, as it always comes back to Chloe Grace Moretz, when a young Chloe Grace Moretz was playing Hit Girl. You know what I mean? And that was like,
Chloe
Grace Moretz.
We're going to move on. We're going to move forward, and we're going to pretend whatever was supposed to come out of my mouth is what came out of my mouth. And I don't know. I just felt like it was not necessarily out of character or anything like that, but it did feel like they were really relying on that to make you feel not terribly sad. But it did get laughs 100%. In the theater.
But
it did
thank
get laughs.
God I at least had that, or I would have just died in my seat with my Bloody Mary in hand, you know?
Yeah.
And the Bloody Mary didn't help at all to get me through this movie. It wasn't like a fun movie where I'm like, I'll have a drink and this will be fun.
Yeah.
I was like, and now I'm sad drinking a Bloody Mary.
Mm-hmm. That's not a good cocktail for when you're sad, I don't think.
No, it's not. It's like
you need something like fruity when you're sad, maybe.
Or, you know, I mean, I wouldn't recommend drinking when you're sad, but we do it.
Sure. There are healthier coping mechanisms in the world, like seeing horror movies, but you really got to be careful which one. So,
yeah, not the ones about child abduction.
Not the ones about, and not just child abduction, child abuse. These kids are getting hit with the belt at home. Like, we don't see Finney get belted, which is a fucking insane thing to include in this film, because I don't feel that it really added anything to this story at all, other than there's this implication that if Finney got belted by the grabber, he'd know how to take it, but like,
but then
I thought the bullying at school was enough to cover that. I don't know. I thought it was so grim.
There is a lot of like this. I wasn't expecting all of the violence, like the kids beating each other up, the parents hitting each other. I get it was the 70s, and like I'm sure all of that actually happened in this. Know what I mean? Like to kids, but like Gwen's like belt scene went on for so long. I was like why?
Yeah. And then I hated that too, because then like, okay, I'm sure that this was on purpose, but like then poor Finney gets put under the care of the grabber, and that's his weapon is the fucking belt, and it's the same thing. So I'm like, what is this telling me? Like, oh, he was like you were saying, Chelsea, like, oh, we'd know what to do. No, it's just like, it's like the same weapon at home as here. So it's like, I don't know.
Home I just thought just that as bad as being abducted
I was like, his home,
by,
I was like, is that what their argument is?
That's fucked up. I think I read some articles about this because I went looking. It's based on a short story, and I was really intrigued by that
Stephen
concept.
King's son.
Yes, Joe Hill, Stephen King's son. And actually in the short story, the grabber is a clown, not a magician. But then they were like, Stephen King's son, It chapters 1 and 2 were not that long ago. It should probably not be a clown. Let's change it.
But and I did like the mask work that they did with this. So that was
the mask work was great. Yeah. And there is a little like nod to Stephen King in this, because at the end of the movie, we see Gwen like riding her bike in a yellow rain jacket and red boots, like Georgie from It. And that I think they did like as like a direct nod to Stephen King.
Yeah, totally. And IMDb trivia talked about how the hat that the grabber wears, his magician hat, is also very like Rose in the Hat from Dr. Sleep, which I haven't seen, but I saw the trailer, so I recognize the visual.
I watched the beginning of that and then I fell asleep.
And apparently a kid gets kidnapped from after a baseball game and that
There's
as well.
Child abduction in that too. You know. I saw that part. And then I got Dr. Sleep.
Amazing.
You got Chris.
What was I saying 1 second ago though? Do you recall?
Clown. He was a clown. The son of Stephen King.
Articles about it. Yeah, I was really intrigued by the short story because, spoiler, I didn't like the movie that much, but I was like, I bet this would be a slap in short story. I'll have to check it out. And I haven't read it yet because I didn't want to like confuse things too much. But in a lot of the articles, the short story starts like right at Finney's abduction. And they kind of said if we had adapted it just from that, it'd be a 45-minute movie. So they like fleshed out a lot of this stuff with the family story and with like the school setup and stuff like that. And some of the quotes talk about how they really wanted to kind of focus on like the culture of abuse that existed to a degree in the 70s and in olden days, when like, not that it is ever okay to belt your child, but it was more like socially acceptable at the time as a form of punishment and whatever. But so they talked about that, and they also talked about in one article that the grabber comes from a like traumatic childhood as well, which is kind of implied by when he says like, oh, even when I was a kid and I was down here, the phone didn't work, which is very Joe Goldberg, when like he was kept in the glass box as a teen.
Cycle
and
of
so
abuse.
I think in some ways that makes sense for the belt to be like the quote unquote weapon of choice for both of them. Because if that's the weapon of childhood abuse and the grabber is a victim of childhood abuse who's like playing it out with his victims again. But it felt like there is no possible happy ending when you have a dad who's belting his kids and they're going home to that.
Chelsea, he said sorry at the end of the movie. So what are you talking about?
And he said his daughter with the bad dreams could ask him a question. Okay, so clearly he's rehabilitated.
Oh yeah, and he was definitely not drunk still when he was picking up his kids, so he's cured of alcoholism too. It just made it super bleak. I mean, that said, I'm really glad they added in some of the other parts that they added in, because this movie had like opened the door and they're like, Finney's in the basement now, and without all the fun little 70s precursors, God, that would have been extra bleak. But that said, I hated the dad so much. There's nothing to like about him. And just, I like that they had the like psychic family thing, but it was just so bleak because like the backstory is basically the mom also had these visions. And it seems that Finney and Gwen both have like the touch or whatever as well.
Yeah.
Gwen has these visions, and Finney, they don't really say exactly, but something has happened with him in the past.
Well,
I don't know. I thought he was predisposed for it.
So I think my takeaway was because when Finney is captured, like the phone is there and you can hear the grabber kind of say like, oh, is it ringing? And Finney doesn't hear anything and all this kind of stuff. But when I think it's Bruce, he's like, has this happened all the time? And he's like, yeah, but you're the first person that can hear us. And they're like, the grabber can like he's like not open to it. So he
doesn't want to believe or whatever.
Yeah. So like, I think like that phone always rung, and every time they pick up,
and it was always a ghosty
silent.
Ghost.
But because Finney's mom and his sister have like a psychic ability, he's able to hear them.
Yeah.
And so I think that phone has rung for every single boy, but he's the only one who can hear them.
And the grabber says that it rang when he was younger too, which does imply maybe whatever traumatic childhood he had like goes beyond just abuse, and also possibly there's like a legacy of this to some degree in the family. Although we see the brother and he's just coked out and otherwise. But I mean, maybe there's a reason why he gets so. Yeah, I mean, he's fun.
Coked out 70s couch detective
with his little like it's always sunny in Philadelphia board, like welcome.
The crime board.
I mean, and if there's more to like what went on in their childhoods, it would make sense, because that's what I thought was really weird actually, is that like Max the brother comes in from out of town, and that's what's like complicating the grabber's relationship with Finney and why he can't do things exactly the way he wants to, because he has to like work around this obstacle. And it's like, okay, why is the brother there? But if the brother has like a vested interest in like child abductions or child kidnappings because of something from their own childhood, and that's why he's like, okay, I have a brother in the area, let me go stay with my brother and investigate because I'm emotionally invested. That makes a lot more sense to me actually.
I like the brother's just like a drug addict and needed a place to stay, and while he was there he's like, I'm high on cocaine and I'm super invested in this. Yeah, like he's just so coked out.
But it feels like he's been invested for like a while, you know, and the problems only arose if he had just gotten there because he didn't have that problem with Robin. Robin. I love Robin. I love Robin so much. Robin is
Finney's boyfriend.
I agree. Yes. I 100% agree. Robin
There was some flirting with Bruce, but Robin was his boyfriend.
Robin is his boyfriend 100%. Robin has the coolest fit in the game. His like Chelsea Duff cut off sleeves, shirt, tank top going down. The Robin's bandana wrapped around his head. He got the flares going, and he also like almost killed that kid. He almost commits a child murder like right away, and he wasn't so badass. Huh?
That kid swung first.
Oh yeah. It's just there's always that part when there's fights in movies where it gets to like they're on the ground and one person's on top and they just never stop beating their face in. And I'm just wailing. Like, but could you maybe stop? It's very sad and the bones are crunching. But I did love that scene when Robin comes in while Finney's about to get his shit wrecked by 3 dweeby ass bullies in the bathroom.
That part was the beginning was very let the right one in, where he's like running away, hiding in the bathroom, 3 bullies, a mysterious benefactor friend who's like, don't worry, I got you, baby.
Yeah, totally. But he like comes in and he doesn't even like threaten them. He just washes the blood off of his hand. He's like, damn, that kid had sharp teeth. And I was like, oh,
right. That's all he needed to say. They just needed the reminder. Badass. Yeah.
So badass. Amazing. Incredible.
I love a badass 5th grader.
We stand Robin.
They so little.
How old is everyone?
These like are little kids. Or something.
Yeah, I was gonna guess maybe like if I would say maybe like Finney is in 7th grade and Gwen is in like 6th grade.
And Bruce is like a 10th grader, maybe.
8th grade. Bruce was 17.
Bruce was 17?
Bruce was 17. It said it on the thing, on the missing person, age 17.
Then they have to be older. So maybe Finney's
I think they're in 9th grade and she's in 8th grade.
Yeah.
Like Gwen's in 8th grade.
Right. So Finney could be like 14. Well, no, he said he was 13. The IMDb said a 13-year-old.
Some people can be 13 in the 9th grade.
That's true.
Rare, but happens. Yeah. I was 15, but
I was 15.
Maybe it's still 8th grade. I don't know. Maybe it's not like a high school. Maybe it's like a park baseball team, not like a school baseball team. Because they're all
sponsored by the orthodontist or whatever. So
real.
Classic. That's true. It's like AYSO except for baseball.
Yeah. But still, putting a 13-year-old up against a 17-year-old, like the physicality, that's just
his arm
dumb.
Is like he almost got him. That's how you know he's really good.
That is true. Mint.
Oh man, I did like the way that they introduced the grabber though, like how they slowly gave you more details, like just you see like blurred versions of him like as people start to get taken, and then you like learn about the balloons, and I was like, what the fuck do the balloons have to do with anything? And then when you find like Finney finally gets grabbed and you see like what he's doing, using a fucking giant thing of a balloons just to smash them onto a kid's face like this. What a weird like balloons make a lot of noise. They're like rubbing all up together. I don't know.
How squeaky.
Yeah, they're really squeaky. So I don't know how like this works. Like, maybe people like if they see it, they're like, oh, that guy's wrestling with some crazy balloons. No child under there.
As somebody who has a latex allergy, those balloons are my enemy.
Dangerous.
I would immediately be dead.
I wouldn't be dead. I would just be very itchy.
Oh,
that's as good as dead.
Okay, also,
imagine being itchy on top of everything else. Hungry on a nasty old mattress. A nightmare.
Okay, but also... Fun fact, if we ever have any children listening to our podcast or people with children, tell your children, and children listen to this. No adult is ever going to ask a fucking child for help. Like, that was something that like I was
That's
taught.
so
Like
true.
my parents would always say, like, if an adult, unless it's an adult that you like is around us all the time and you're like, no, know what I mean? Like if an adult asks you for help, say, no, sorry, I can't, run away. Like no adult has any business asking you, a child, for help for any reason, for absolutely any reason.
That's so true. That's actually very sound advice.
So I guess it was the 70s. So like nobody cared, but
stranger danger didn't exist until the 80s. It just was there in the 70s.
It was really
they
there.
Didn't come up 70s. With the rhyme until later. So the messaging was just not where it was at.
They didn't even have that rhyme yet. Oh my God.
Here's the thing. If you made it, here's the thing. If you made it out in the 70s, you are one tough bitch. Like kudos to all of our parents. They are survivors.
Sure.
Seriously. Oh my God.
Well, that's what one of the articles was saying. It was saying how like, you know, this kind of did exist to a degree in the 70s and 80s, as we see in the film, this culture, and like kids disappearing. And there was, you know, a lot of serial killers were kind of in that time. And there's a lot of reasonings that people think of like why that was happening, that phenomenon. But the takeaway was also just that like those kids grew up and became parents, and that's kind of where like helicopter parenting came in, because there was like this kind of fear that anything could have happened at that time, and they're like, not my kid, I'm gonna teach my kid nobody's gonna ask for help, you know what I mean?
Well, that, and also the 24-hour news cycle got everybody, because like then they reported like every single minor like thing, because it was 24 hours and they needed stories to like fill.
They needed content,
baby. It's all about the content. Okay.
God.
All about the content. I've always said. Anyway, back to the movie. Yeah, I mean, I think the buildup with the grabber was interesting because you get like the slightest glimpse when you think for a second maybe the movie's going to be about Bruce, if you haven't seen any of the promotional materials. When you're like following Bruce and he's doing his like big man ride through the neighborhood, and there's girls being like,
all the girls are like,
yeah.
Bruce. I don't blame them. Bruce is he's got the dreamy hair. Okay, he got it going on. He just hit a home run. Okay, he's the guy. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, he didn't get to really soak in that triumph for very long. He sure did get kidnapped fast.
He sure did.
The way the grabber's going through these kids, there's like no time passing hardly at all between Bruce getting grabbed, Robin getting grabbed, Finney getting grabbed.
No, it's so true. I was just thinking that he's like just firing through him. But I guess that's because like what his ritual is, like, unless you're receiving guidance from the other side, like the natural idea when the captor leaves the door open is to go upstairs and try to escape. And I think that once you know you play into his fucking goddamn it, Sydney.
It always comes back to Finding Nemo. We learned that with Final Destination 2. I did that post on social. By the way, I was not expecting there to be that many parallels in that scene.
That was shocking.
I was shocked when I went.
Couldn't help myself. A clear reference.
There was just one part of that scene.
The fact that Finney was trying to escape is a clear reference.
Anyway.
Oh my God.
Just like Nemo. Finney was also
just like Nemo.
Oh my fucking God. Well, okay, the dark thing I was about to say is like the natural inclination is like the door's open. This is my chance to escape. Yeah. So like probably all these kids got knocked off way fucking faster than Finney because they didn't have a dead baby telling them on the phone not to go up the stairs. Because I guess like as soon as you play into his naughty boy game, which is so fucking disgusting. Oh my God.
The second they said naughty boy, it was game over for me. I was out emotionally.
But yeah, I guess once you're a naughty boy, you're a dead boy immediately afterwards because he's fucking speeding through these kids. It's horrible. It's horrifying. Once they started showing the kids, because at first you're just hearing a disembodied voice, you know, and you're like, ooh, spooky. And then all of a sudden you're seeing all these kids and they're like corpses and they're bleeding. what the fuck was the one who was flying in the air and
Right?
his blood was dripping out of his neck? How come that one can fly?
For
Why
fun,
was
just
that
to be
happening?
spooky.
Okay, here's the one thing. This director, because again, he also directed Sinister, loves a good ghost kid.
He loves a kid
Yes.
bent over backwards.
He loves
Yes,
the
he
kid
does.
who's doing a back bend. He loves gymnasts.
What happened to him in his childhood gymnastics class? What happened there?
What gymnast hurt you, Scott? Derrickson? Derrickson. There we go.
There we go.
Okay. Another thing that I wanted to point out, which I was a fucking genius, but like jury's out. If you would, ladies, Google Sinister poster, you will see an image. The image for those listening at home is some spooky lady, and she's walking, dragging her arm against a gray wall and leaving a big bloodline behind her. And then the blood is coming down.
It's the
and
daughter.
You can see Gabagool's face, aka Bagool's face. He's the spooky guy from Sinister. The bloodline there looks like the rust line in the house, in the basement where little Finny is being held captive. And in my mind, it's a clear reference, and it was intentional, though. It is very,
of course it was.
tenuous visual indicator, but I was like, oh yeah, that's a Sinister reference. Yeah. As I sipped on my Bloody Mary. I felt like a genius, so it's okay. You can clap. It's fine. Thank you so much. But God damn it, this movie's so sad. There's so many sad things that happen. All of the kids though had cool hair. Maybe that's the thing that gets the grabber.
That's the important takeaway.
Grabbing. Yeah, he's like, who's the kid with the coolest hair? I'm gonna snatch him. Huh?
Vance. Out of all the dead kids, Vance to me had the coolest hair. Robin was second.
Vance was the paper boy, right?
No, Vance was the bad boy.
One at 7-Eleven.
Oh,
yeah,
okay, yeah. The one who was basically what's
doing
his
a murder.
name?
Yeah.
No, it was exactly the same character as what's
Henry,
his name from
Henry
Stranger
Bauer.
Things.
Oh, Billy.
Billy, thank you. I was gonna say Bobby. He was giving big Billy from Stranger Things vibes, like the aggression, the hair, the gene.
Well, he was giving me
big.
He was giving me big Henry Bowers from It vibes too, like carving in. So I think that's kind of where he like his whole thing was.
Yeah,
like a 70s Henry Bowers.
And Stephen King loves to, and he passed that on to his child, I guess.
Yeah. I just want to shout out to Paperboy though, because he had some hair that I ain't never seen before.
That was
I have no recollection of what it looked like. What did it look like?
Oh,
yeah, I don't remember.
In like 5 directions. There's like that flashback when he's getting his papers together, and his hair.
His doggy.
It's like a swoop in the front. It swoops in the side. It's like kind of long in the back. There's like a lot of product happening. And it looked beautiful. And even still sort of was still coiffed after he had been murdered and he was a spooky ghoul.
So there was 5 boys, right? There was Bruce was the first one, and then Billy, and then Griffin, and then Vance and Robin, right?
Is Griffin
that sounds
a redhead bully?
I don't think they were calling in any particular order chronologically.
No, but like those were
Bruce and then Robin bookended everybody in the middle.
Well, but were there more murdered boys? Why were these like, know what I mean? Like, had he murdered more, or were those all of them?
I think those had to be all of them. I didn't count the amount of bodies that were in the basement when they showed them all.
Yeah.
But there weren't more than 6 down there. It's not a lot of space.
Yeah, I mean, I think the whole complication with that is for him to have for the grabber to have escalated to killing the boys this fast, and for it to be this ritualized already. I would personally expect from my Criminal Minds, Law and Order, etc. experience that he would have started slower and then built up his pattern going faster over time. I would expect there to be more boys, you know what I mean? Because all those 5 were pretty recent. But this is a movie and they condensed. So, you know, what are you gonna do?
The way that Finney reacted to some of them, he was like shocked, you know, he was like, oh wait, I remember you, like that, you know. So I think it was like longer ago. I think people would have been more up in arms if it was every 5 days a boy was gone. I think like from Bruce it like started to get more intense. Or like maybe Robin died so fast because he knew Max was coming to town or something, I don't know. But
or maybe or like, I mean, there could be more time in between that we just don't see because of the movie, you know, like.
Yeah. And also like a lot of serial killers like start with like other fuck shit before they graduate to murder. So he could have been like killing a lot of cats in the years prior, you know, that sort of thing.
I wish the timeline was a little more
or something.
Yeah. Sydney,
secure.
What did I read? I read some book where like they didn't figure out like how to, no, I'm thinking of Mindhunter. They didn't figure out how to like categorize someone as a serial killer and like study like, you know, like all the criminal mind shit that we love, like profiles and
until like late 70s, right?
Yeah, it was like around this, at least late 70s or early 80s is when they started to figure it out. So like this would have been right when they started figuring it out. So it makes sense that they wouldn't have been able to put it together in time. And also the cops didn't have like any fucking leads at all,
except for Gwen.
My God,
except for Gwen, and then.
They were doing so bad, and then at the end they're like, and now to the cop who broke the case. An 8-year-old broke the case, so why don't you get her out here?
Are you telling me that Gwen's a cop now because she can do better? She's the cop that broke the case. She's the psychic baby that broke the case.
They were at the house and they went, maybe you should tidy up, and they walked out because there was coke all over the table, and then they went, anyway, that's a normal day for us. And I mean, I don't think coke users should be criminalized. I'm just saying, I think that they were not doing anything. Those cops, they were doing literally nothing.
No, there'd been so many kids killed. That's a lot of fucking kids in a tiny little town. Oh my God. But they did a good job pacing it emotionally. Like, obviously they're going to leave Robin to the last one because, you know, you're like hoping against hope that he's still alive, but he do be dead. And he taught him how to fight with the phone. Oh,
Robin.
Okay. Here's the thing about the phone though. I liked that each phone call with the kids gave him a little clue, and then at the end all of the clues and all of the pieces came together to sort of imply it's not that Finney is like special or different necessarily so much as he has the combined resources of all of them, and they've each given him a tool, and once he has all of the tools and he needs every of them, but I also like he was beating the shit out of the grabber with the phone stuffed with dirt. And it's like, okay, but you had the top of the toilet tank that you already had used as a bludgeoning weapon against the wall. And you had the grate. And like, I liked how the grate came into play. I thought that was good. But I just felt like there were already some good improvisable weapons on the scene at that point.
I feel that. But back to what you were saying before, I thought that's nice too, because it's not like he's like better than them or smarter than them or whatever. Like he just like they couldn't, it's really sad actually, like they couldn't have gotten out without help, and he's lucky enough to be in a position where he can accept the help because he's, you know, psychic or whatever. He's like young baby ghost whisperer Sydney.
Oh, everything goes back to Ghost Whisperer. A clear reference.
Jennifer Love Hewitt. Oh man, it's fucking sad. It's sad.
Yeah,
I laughed,
I did,
but I didn't cry, but I felt really bad.
Again, this movie stressed me out. Like, I think the most stressful part was when Finney actually is like it's the third boy. The second one that's like, this is the combination lock. It's the third one. They're like,
23317.
He's a like.
But is it 23?
So mad.
17? Is it? At first, I was like, "What is the difference?" And then I was like, "Oh, spinning lock, not like all the numbers in a line." That was a good little complication. I thought that was fun.
Those are hard enough as it is, even if you have the combination. So I was like, "Oh no,
oh god!" But I can't believe the way the grabber sits on top of the stairs.
Disgusting.
I realized we never
the man spreading. I said "ew" out loud in the theater, and my friend looked over at me.
He's
absolutely not.
So hairless, also, which is fine to not have chest hair, but like there was something about it's chest
very
gleaming in the light, and I was like,
Here's the thing: the men in my family are like pretty body hairless, and there is something sinister about it. I will say.
I've always thought that about your dad,
my dad, my brother, all of my cousins. It's weird.
Whenever I see them shirtless, I'm always just like,
sinister.
Something's not right here.
Something's off.
None of y'all are getting my fun sinister joke. Okay,
I'm getting your sinister
I said
joke.
sinister once earlier.
Well, nobody's acknowledging it.
I tried to, but the conversation moved forward. You did a good job, Sydney. We'll do props for Sydney too.
Sydney.
Thank you. I feel appreciated.
Mr. Sydney. That's your new name.
Sorry, we didn't. Yeah, sorry we didn't give you your full props previously.
That's so Sydney.
I'm so sorry. On this pod, you have to ask for them. That
you
so
do.
Sydney.
You have to advocate for yourself. We should all practice
now,
and
clap.
advocate for ourselves.
Clap for me.
Clap for me.
Also, but like he's asleep now. This is the lock, and he's like trying, and you can like kind of see in the background, and he finally gets it, and then there's a fucking dog.
Fuck that dog. It's scary. It's probably been trained to be scary. So
yeah,
the dog is innocent.
And then like he's outside and he's screaming, and like lights are coming on, and you're like, what's gonna happen? And then he just yeets him to the ground, holds him, and he's like, I will end everything right now if you make one sound. And then you just see all the lights go back off, and you're just like,
slowly.
And then
so sad. Devastating. I was like, scream like immediately, but there's so much going through your mind in that moment. I can't. We'll never have to imagine. Hopefully, but like, God,
right.
I was like, run up to these houses and like slam on the door or something. Then they can't ignore you. But he's a small boy, short little legs.
Right? Because like you never know how you're gonna react in a situation either. Like.
Best laid plans, go out the door when you have a knife to your neck from Ethan Hawke. Oh my God.
From Ethan Hawke of all people.
I know.
There was a fun little trivia, IMDb trivia that was like, it's an Easter egg that Ethan Hawke plays the grabber because his daughter, Maya Hawke, is in Stranger Things playing a character named Robin. And they didn't explain. And so I can only assume that they mean that there was also a character in this named Robin. But I love when people are out there doing the hard work to find the clear references.
I love the clear references.
And alluding vaguely to them on IMDb trivia.
Honestly, people that update IMDb trivia, braver than the Marines.
They're doing the most important work there is.
And then what's the other one? Is it Vance that tells him about the meat locker?
No, I don't. Well, I don't know. I only know that Vance is involved in Gwynny's dream showing the address.
So there's like, is it the middle? I don't remember. So Bruce doesn't really.
Maybe it's the upside down kid who did the meat locker, since he was kind of floating in that area.
Bruce is the one that like sets like hi, you can hear ghosts, and
let me lay down. Let me do some groundwork for you.
He's the hole. So Bruce is the hole.
Oh, the
paper boy is the paper boy is
right?
the cable underneath the wall that he uses to get the grate down. Then the other one, who I think is the floaty boy,
Griffin.
He is the one who has the
lock.
What's it called? The lock. And then it's who's the scary guy
Vance.
who is Billy? Vance. Then Vance is the one
The
who
meat
tells you to
locker.
beat the shit out of the wall. He's the rage one. He's the unbridled
yeah.
rage one. So he beats the shit out of the wall, and he's like,
So
ha
do we
ha.
think
I
the
made that asshole
implication-
pay for all of the damages in the wall. Like, okay, one win, guy. He has
do
to take it
home
where he can get it.
renovations. Yeah. He had to go to the hardware store. He had to get fresh drywall.
Do you want to know something that's really stupid that I wanted to tell you? Okay.
Always.
Yeah.
The reason I was quiet for a while after you said that IMDb trivia about Robin and the Grabber was I was like, there's definitely a Batman villain named the Grabber, isn't it? Isn't there? And I'm like, it's a Batman reference. There's not. There's not. 100%. I was so sure. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe they don't remember the Grabber from Batman. Anyway, I'll see myself out.
It sounds like it could be a Batman villain.
I was so sure.
The Grabber is a great bad guy name, though. Like, it's very spooky.
Especially for a child abductor.
Exactly.
The Grabber out here. There was one headline for Robin that was like, the Grabber grabs again. And I said, it's a good headline.
Great headline.
Straightforward. Yeah.
And then the meat thing was kind of, like it had a purpose, but like not a big one.
That would have been a great way for him to get out if he could possibly have gotten through that lock, though. So
yes. And then him just like sobbing after he has to come back because like the meat locker doesn't do anything is just like,
yeah.
And then we get Robin being like, okay, like this is it.
You got this, baby.
You don't have any time. Like, we're gonna prepare. And
he's like, don't make me die for nothing. I died to save you, my boyfriend.
Love of my life.
Yeah, that's what he said. That was word for word.
Word for word. I heard it.
It's
canon.
I heard it.
Canonically gay, baby.
You can have a ghost boyfriend. He can talk to ghosts. You're telling me Robin can't continue to be his ghost boyfriend? I know you read the Mediator series.
Here's the thing. If Lucy Liu can fuck a ghost, they can have
Lucy
a ghost
Liu
boyfriend.
can fuck a ghost.
Thank you.
It needed to be said. Boyfriend. They will have to break up at some point because Robin will stay that age forever and Finny will age. But
it's a cute little like year and a half romance, like
he's gonna need somebody on his side when he's at home with his abusive father. So
exactly.
I love this, but I think that the way being a ghost works in this storyline, which I don't like, is that you forget everything about yourself pretty quickly after being dead. So I feel like that might make things a little dark and depressing for their budding romance. And he might only be able to talk to him through that spooky phone, which is a trauma device and a murder weapon at the end of this film.
You could argue that his unfinished business has been finished and he has closure and his body's been discovered and will hopefully soon be laid to rest properly, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So it could be a happy ending for those ghosts. But it actually did remind me, I kind of thought the ghosts remind me. Actually, did the ghost come into play at the very end when he's escaping, or not really, right?
No, they did come into play a little bit. They alerted Gwen to where the house was,
and
like
that was a great moment.
That was really good.
Oh, that
moment did remind me of part of the Mediator series, where there's like one kill in like book 3 or something like that, where it's like all of the ghosts come back to get that mean guy. If you recall,
yeah,
Monica.
I remember that.
And Sydney will get there whenever she's ready to start reading the series. She has them. I've sent them to her twice now. Whenever you're ready, Queen. No pressure.
They're great as audiobooks too. Just saying, easy, quick. Run through them.
So
if you're trying to meet your Goodreads yearly challenge and you need like 5 books real quick in a week, boom, 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 done. Adam.
I have to finish the Ice Planet Barbarian series first, and then I'll move on.
Yeah. No rush. Because these books are
happy soon too.
and the Mediator series, arguably, unfortunately, it's a YA series. It's Sue's the main character, very horny, but the books are a little sexless overall. So it'll be a nice cool down for you after the Ice Planet Barbarians, I think.
I honestly skip past all of the sex
I'm there for the plot. That's why you did tell me that.
That is
I'm reading
incredible.
my smut books for plot. I'm so sorry. It's very
what can I say?
As an intellectual, I can't wait. Can't wait till they turn those books into movies and you fast forward through all the sex scenes,
like
which will be the whole movie.
Okay.
Oh my
the
god.
Ending.
Anyway,
of this
the
movie.
ending.
Oh, yes.
My favorite thing is here's the thing. My favorite part of the ending is Max figuring it out, where he's like looking at his board and he's like, "Oh my god, our house is in the center of all of these."
He did just enough coke to reach the answer.
I know.
It fueled him.
He got that good batch that opened the door for him.
Here's the
his
thing.
third eye.
I think the whole purpose of this movie is to tell us, the viewer, that if you do enough good cocaine, you too can solve murder.
You might get killed, but you might also solve a murder.
His
Is it
fatal
worth
flaw?
it? You decide.
His fatal flaw was trying to get the kudos too soon when he had not secured the bag being Finney yet.
Exactly.
Gotta secure the bag first, and then you say, "I demand applause." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As somebody who has to demand their own applause on this podcast, we understand.
We understand. We figured out the correct order in which to do things. You got to finish doing your thing before you ask for the applause.
Stick the landing, then.
Yeah.
But I felt like the CGI of him getting his head axed like pissed me off. I don't know.
Monica, it was the 70s.
Like
CGI wasn't great.
Okay, well,
Monica, is the 70s they didn't have CGI yet. You should be grateful for what you got.
I don't want it to be CGI. I want it to be practical. So if this was a movie that was made in the 70s, which is a very interesting argument to be making right now.
They put it in a lockbox.
It is set in the 70s, honey.
Years.
Today it's 2022. This was made in probably 2020 though, or probably 2019. This has been on the shelf for a minute. Anyway,
has it?
Well, it was supposed to come out last year.
Oh,
It's supposed to come out
I don't
in
think
January.
anything really film, because like if you look online, it says like 2021 for the movie.
That is true. But
and there was some shifting because the directors I think you mentioned at some point that they did Doctor Strange. And they were going to do the new Doctor Strange movie, Multiverse of Madness, that came out earlier this year, which Sam Raimi, Evil Dead director, actually ended up doing. So it's interesting that they always were kind of going for a horror bent for that one. But schedules, etc., blah blah blah, and he ended up doing this instead.
I don't know.
Yeah, that movie's about magic. This movie's about magician and supernatural stuff. Everybody was playing in the same sandbox.
Yeah, totally.
You love to see that.
We love to see friends play nicely with their toys. Yeah.
One aspect that we touched on it really quickly that I really liked the mask work in this, but I just thought it was really, really genius. Like at first his weird demon mask, like I love that the mouth part comes out and it switches and he can like wear it whatever way. But like at first he has like no mouth, then he has like the horrifying smile. And then once it's naughty boy time, he has the frown.
Frowny
and when
face.
When they first introduced the frowny face, I was like, that is so fucked up. Like that really unsettled me deeply.
How much money do you think he paid for this mask, and who made them is what I want to know.
I guess the question is he a real working magician? Because if so,
that's his trick.
That's true. We never saw his trick. Is he good? We need to know. The people need to know. I'm gonna assume that he was fine. But I would bet that he could get that as like part of his craft work for his magician stuff. Probably.
Yeah.
Maybe he got a deal because it's so many different pieces.
Maybe he carved it himself. That's his hobby.
He's an artiste.
He's a whittler. That makes sense with him, honestly.
A whittler.
The one thing that really pissed me off about this movie I was watching Ethan Hawke's performance, and I love Ethan Hawke. I love him. I thought he was very unsettling and good in this. But boy, is this a post the Joker movie. Like, was his character informed by Joaquin Phoenix's performance of the Joker? Oh yeah. There are a lot of like similar things. I was like, I'm getting too many Joker vibes.
There is a staircase. I haven't seen the Joker either. That's all I know.
Oh no, it's like the way that he acted it. Listeners who watched it, tell me if you agree, because no one here can tell me if they agree.
I believe you, Monica. I'm sure you're right.
Thank you. This is a very obtuse. It's a very obtuse observation that I'm making. But you'll understand in time. Don't watch the Joker movie if you don't have to. It's not bad. It's just like,
wait for the sequel that's a musical with Lady Gaga.
Oh,
because
why
I
is
will
that
be
a
there
thing?
for that.
That I will
Lady
watch.
Gaga is going to do amazing.
Lady Gaga.
I don't understand this pivot, but also it sounds unhinged in just the way that we
funny.
like. So like,
yeah,
fine.
I'm here for
okay,
it.
Sure. All right.
You caught my attention.
A musical? Lady Gaga? The Joker?
They said the Joker was a very successful movie, but it appealed to be a very specific demographic. Those people will come for a sequel no matter what. We have to angle it towards all the people we missed out on last time. Let's make it a musical and let's cast Lady Gaga.
Like, one big critique I keep hearing about the Joker is that he didn't sing enough.
It didn't have enough
problem. He didn't sing nearly enough.
I did see some jazz hands and a bunch of memes. So
oh yeah, he does a little.
There you go.
He's a showman, so he's got the stage presence. All
right, I'm in. You got me.
Wait, okay, we were talking about the end.
Wait, we were talking about the mask also, because
I
thought it was so good and so scary, but also I thought it was great that it was so good and so scary, because in a not post-pandemic world, but post beginning of the pandemic world, just covering his mouth it was like a normal mask, which could have been scary in a movie previously, has been too normalized. You know what I mean? They had to up the ante. They had to make it really scary, not just mysterious, covering his identity, but actively psychologically terrorizing you.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think that they hit the nail on the head with that.
They
I was
did
psychologically terrorized. Also in the like last fight scene, because he like is okay with exposing like the top of his face.
He's okay with exposing both parts, just not one
at the same time.
Unless he's in spooky white powder makeup and no mask.
Yeah.
And those big glasses.
Which is what he wears to go buy a murder kit, basically.
Sure.
Very interesting. And also, I guess he just didn't, in the very end, like, Finney rips off his mask, his mouth mask, and so he has no mask on at all. And he like flips out and covers his face. Is it like at this point he's worried that Finney will escape and describe his face, or does he hate his face? Like he was like very upset. He like covered himself instead of like, continuing to fight this child.
I mean, I think you can make the argument that if he is reenacting some trauma from his childhood, which the filmmakers seem to suggest that he is, that perhaps it's a level of like dissociation from him as the villain instead of him as the victim. And so once you've taken away his ability to distance himself from being himself in that moment, it's like, oh no, now I have to reckon with what I've done and the fact that it's been me all along.
True. Okay. I can fuck with that. I do love that in the end, the child violence wins the day and he straight up just chokes that motherfucker out,
He
like Finney just
snaps his neck, which is like, can a child even do that?
Physically, I don't understand how he snapped his neck. Like, was it with the cord? I don't understand. I don't need to know. But I was like, I just heard a crack. I thought he was choking him out, but he did some sort of like WWE shit that I don't understand. It was gruesome.
He had physics on his side potentially, with Ethan Hawke being so much lower in the ground, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm not really sure. Ethan Hawke was like fairly probably debilitated by the dirt phone smashing, the broken ankle, I'm assuming, and was just a little overwhelmed in that moment, which I think is why he didn't have like a better, even though he kind of still had his arms up to a degree, he just like, he didn't have his best opportunity to fight back. But yeah, the neck snapping
done fucked him up.
Sure. It just, again, everything came together. And Finney had the righteous anger on his side and perhaps the strength of all the ghosts that came before him.
I do like that all the little ghost boys get to say like a fuck you to him before he snaps their neck.
I loved that part. Oh, thanks for bringing that up. I love that he's like, it goes ring, ring, and he's like, it's for you. And they're
ring,
all like,
ring,
fuck you fucking bitch.
That's right. There is that.
We hate you. Except meaner thing. I don't know what they said.
That must have been what I was thinking about earlier with the mediator moment where I was like, remind me.
It's also very which one is it? Which Harry Potter is the one where
four in the graveyard?
The fourth one.
Yeah. When the ghosties come out of the wand.
Yeah, the ghosties come out of the wand and they're like, we'll all go run over and attack Voldemort and then you run away. And that vibe. A little bit of that. But we don't like Harry Potter, so haha. Moving on.
Well, I mean, Daniel Radcliffe wrote Harry Potter, so we.
Yeah, Daniel. Oh my God.
And my two friends in my group chat wrote Harry Potter, so.
Exactly.
It's true.
Our group chat is called the authors of Harry Potter. I'm just saying it wouldn't be called that if it weren't true.
No, I know.
It's on the internet now, so it's clearly true.
Yeah.
No, it's true. It's true. And then we get a little bit of a happy ending where, oh my God, the dad, as we said, is cured of all of his ailments and he's no longer abusive and an alcoholic.
No. We skipped a huge part. Gwen brings the cops to the house, but it's like another house, but all the bodies of the boys are there.
Yeah.
And they're like freaking out because Finney isn't there. And Finney just like walks outside of this damn house
across
and
the
it's
street.
the house across the street.
That was a exciting reveal.
Look at Finney's baby sister.
How does this guy have so many houses?
These
are crazy.
Maybe one was. That's actually a really good point. He must be a really talented, successful magician.
Threw it all away to be a child murderer.
Wow, he had so much promise.
So sad.
But yeah, that is something the police could have been doing in their police work is like, okay, we know somebody presumably from the area, if it keeps happening in this same area, is abducting children. Why don't we look at property records? Oh, there's two houses right across from each other owned by the same person and one of them is empty. Come on.
Also,
come on.
Max was making some points, okay, even though he was coked out. He was like, the house has to have a garage or some place to park a carport so the car can be hidden and it's all around in this area. Like, he was thinking good thoughts, okay? He just was, not in the position to present them to the police, I guess, in a way where they would take him seriously. Yeah.
They should have listened.
I know.
They said, we will not listen to a coked out adult, but we will absolutely take the word of an 8-year-old that has prophetic dreams.
Amen. They're like, we're willing to try anything.
Sure.
We're desperate.
Yeah. Look,
at this
not
point,
desperate enough to trust the coke fiends, but that's fine.
At this point, they're ready to do anything. And then I love that at the end, they're like, we're just going to make everything seem like it's super cool. Finney's got a new haircut now. Everybody is scared as fuck of him because he killed a man. And yeah, call me Finn. He's done a rebrand. He's not Finn anymore. He's a big boy now because he's done a killing and he's Finn now.
Guess what? I'm confident now.
Now that I have taken a life, now that I've snapped the murderer's neck, my
boyfriend told me that I can do anything, and then I killed a man. So guess what, bitch?
And then I killed a man with my bare hands. So yeah, I can. Finn is the name.
Yeah, sure, fair.
Good
he
for
earned
him.
it. He earned that glow.
He fucking earned it. He's been through enough. And Finn's a good name on him, so good for him. Mm-hmm. Great job. The end.
Yeah. I did hate the end when they just go back to the dad, and I felt like we could have lost the abuse and just had this self-hating depression, neglect. You know what I mean? We should have lost the abuse. I don't think it added anything
it just
to the
makes
story.
You feel unsafe with the ending. I agree.
Yes, it makes you feel bad. It makes you the dad could have been sad and could have been trying to like deny this in his child and been like, don't do this, without literally hitting her with a belt.
Yeah, he could have just screamed at her really scary, and that still would have made me mad.
What if we don't favor realism too hard in a supernatural movie? You know what I mean? Like, there could be some allowances for abuse by way of neglect because the dad is so not taking care of himself and so distraught and in despair about the loss of his wife, and so trying to make sure his children don't go down the same path without beating the shit out of them. I just felt like I hated it and I didn't like it and I didn't want it to be there.
I'm with you. But isn't it great that we already have a canonic gay boyfriend? A canonic gay boyfriend. Okay, what am I saying? I don't know. But how can it be gay? It's already gay.
There's flirting with Bruce.
They are boyfriends.
Yeah. Yeah, I think probably
Robin is the muscle and Finn is the brains, and together they're cutie patooties. Just little 1970s gay boys. Good for them. Oh.
Okay, is their couple name
Rinny?
Robley?
Where did the L come
from? Finn. Oh, I guess I was saying Finley.
Finbin.
Robbie?
Finbin. Finbin is cute. I also like Rinny because it sounds insane. And it's kind of hard to do.
There's so few good ship names out there. Most of them kind of suck. You know what I mean?
Robney.
So
Finbin
forever.
Finbin forever. Ugh.
Finbin.
Yeah. I mean, who else? All the rest of the boys, I can't take time to speculate.
Yeah. Maybe Max. I feel like Max could be a bisexual king.
Chaotic bisexual for sure for Maxie Poo over there.
I was really afraid that all of the Ethan Hawke, I'm not going to hurt you, I'm not going to do anything you won't like. I was really afraid that was going to escalate to sexual abuse as well. And I'm very glad that it didn't. But I didn't like the specter of it overhead.
Well, I think that was what it was implied. Yeah. Like that was definitely implied. Know what I mean? Like if it, that was implied.
And I'm really glad they didn't actually show it, but I think that would have been part of something.
They were definitely trying to make you afraid of it.
He was watching him sleep.
And it's abduction.
He was watching him sleep.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And the fact that he was like shirtless up there waiting for them. I don't know.
Belt it was off, and we know why his belt was off, but let's not pretend that doesn't have implications of its own as well.
Oh God, this fucking movie. Jesus.
Yeah.
I knew it was about child abduction, going in. But I was like, Sinister was horrifying about the whole families being slaughtered, but I don't know. Sinister was also super fucked up and disturbing, but it was so scary, like that it was like worth it. This one wasn't like scary enough, so it wasn't worth it. I'm skipping ahead, but anyway, I'm just having this thought happen right now. Anyway, who is the dumb bitch? It's Ethan Hawke.
Wait, where's Matthew Lillard?
Wow, the one time I skipped, I got yelled at. So let's just get on the record. Sometimes we all make mistakes.
And here's the thing. The correct answer is Matthew Lillard is Max.
Yeah, he would be.
That's the only correct answer.
He would be a spectacular Max.
And I feel like
he's Max.
He and Ethan Hawke could play fun brothers. I think that would be fun for them.
That would be really fun. They have more similar hair colors too. So
I think they could pull it off.
That makes sense.
Similar builds to a degree.
Well, I'm sorry that I skipped Matthew Lillard. I'm always thinking about him.
That's okay.
I just wanted to say that Ethan Hawke is the dumb bitch in this because I'm mad at him for being a horrible, gross pervert.
Yeah.
A shiny-chested pervert with a cool
Police
mask.
Deserve a nomination. The grabber ultimately is dumb bitch. if you are the victim of abuse, have you considered not perpetuating it? You know what I mean? Like, we can all be the one to break the cycle.
Yeah. Let's just not abduct kids. I don't know. This is the hill I'll die on. Let's not abduct kids.
I think that's a good hill to die on. I think you made a great choice of hills.
A lot, and finally, I was like, this one seems. I don't think I'll go back on this.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Yeah, you picked a good hill. But yeah, he's for sure the dumb bitch.
So dumb. And then that brings us to our knives out of 5s. I think people are liking this, right?
I was shocked when I looked up the IMDb and the Rotten Tomatoes ratings, because I saw this movie in the theaters, and that first scare when they first revealed the dead kid, the second boy, everybody in the theater jumped, and I went, okay, now I'm interested, because I was like kind of bored before. I was like, I'm not really having fun. I'm not really scared. And then we got like that one scare, and then there were some like spooky moments, but not really like scary necessarily. You know what I mean? It was very underwhelmed.
I was pissed off too, because like y'all didn't watch the advertisements for this, but I did. Because like I added this to our letterbox.
Love a trailer.
Our letterbox upcoming horror films we're dying to see list. Yeah, we have very exciting lists. I don't even know if you guys know we have that list, but we do, and I update it. I had the Black Road on there
in my heart
for like
maybe.
6 months.
Okay.
I thought it was gonna come up. Oh my god, sorry. The ad for this movie is playing on IMDb, and it just scared me. So like, I guess the ad is scarier.
Sure.
But in the advertisements, not all of them, but like more the addy ones, not the trailers. They're like, audiences are shitting themselves. Like they did that thing. They brought back that thing that I love, where they do the like night vision camera in the theater, show the audience being like, oh.
That must have been literally just that one moment.
Yeah, which so I was like, oh my god, they're like, people are absolutely terrified and they're losing their minds. Like, that's not a direct quote, but that's what they made it seem like. Like, some girl was like, this is the scariest movie I've seen in a long time. Like, they had like audience interact, like shit like that. And so I was like, oh, this is gonna be really scary. This is gonna fuck me up like Sinister fucked me up. And like, yeah, I feel fucked up right now, but like in a sad, bad kind of way.
I do feel fucked up, but not in a scary, fun movie way.
But anyway, what are the bad? What are the numbers? Oh God.
On IMDb, this movie has a 7.3 out of 10. And then on Rotten Tomatoes, this movie has 83% fresh from critics and 89% fresh from audiences, which just really was not what I was expecting.
Here's my thing, though. I liked this movie.
I'm glad.
Say more words.
Like, I'm giving a 4 out of 5. I loved the aesthetic. It's like, it's an original horror movie, so it's not like, even it's like based off a short story, but it's original. It's not like a remake. It's not a stuff. And like, I like that I thought Ethan Hawke was really great. I love that this was like out of the norm for him. I would have liked him in the film more. You know what I mean?
Being fucking terrifying.
The kids were great. It wasn't scary, but it did make me very stressed. Like, I was stressed the whole time. I'm not as stressed as Top Gun, but Top Gun I was only stressed for like a certain part, where this I was like stressed pretty like consistent.
Okay. Also, your numbers could have been spiking.
Your stress level was consistently elevated, but no.
Your numbers could have been spiking in Top Gun because of Miles Teller too, you know?
It was not Miles Teller.
Oh, interesting.
He did
All right, that's just what I've heard from a lot of people.
I saw one picture with the mustache. I was like, do I need to change my mind about Miles Teller? And the answer, I think, is still no, but I haven't seen the movie, so...
My answer was no. I was more surprised at how attracted I was to Tom Cruise, which is something that I
But are you more attracted to ADA Rafael Barba? Okay.
I'll have to think about it.
No pressure. There's a right answer.
Because I need you to watch this specific Top Gun Maverick movie, and then we can have this discussion.
We'll both come back to the table fully informed.
Like, Sinister was a lot more scarier than this. But I still liked this movie. Like, I will probably rewatch this movie when it comes out on like wide release, and I can like sit and like rewatch it again. Like, so I still had a good time with this movie. It wasn't scary, but I wasn't really expecting it to be like scary, you know?
Sure.
But I liked it. And so I had a good time with this movie. Like, more than I thought that I would, because I saw like a bunch of like mixed reviews. So I was like, I don't know.
See, I saw a lot of raving reviews ahead of time. So I think probably my expectations were too high going in.
Yeah, I had pretty low expectations.
Interesting. Yeah.
But also it was sad. Like, this movie like was a lot more like than I was expecting, but I still had a good time.
Interesting. Yeah, like I said, I saw a lot of people post some really positive tweets about this, and so I was like, oh, everybody's liking it. It's really good. I'm so excited. We're doing a movie that's in theaters that everybody's raving about. And then I was disappointed. I just felt like it wasn't fun, really. I felt like it would have been a really good short story. So I'm curious to read it, although I read the first paragraph and I wasn't thrilled by that, because they're doing the whole thing where it's like, the villain is a big, fat, ugly, fat guy. And it's like, all right. Very classic fat phobia.
John Wayne Gacy.
Yeah, sure. And that was very much one of the influences for the short story creation, especially with the clown thing too. But anyway, I felt like it could be a really compelling short story. Yeah, it could be a really compelling short story to read, possibly more than it made as an adaptation on screen, where so much of it is you're like waiting for plot exposition over the phone. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't necessarily translate in a super exciting way to a visual medium.
So true.
And I felt like a lot of it was like, you know, that thing where it's like, it's hard to be like, that felt convenient in a movie, because it's like, well, they wouldn't make a movie about the moment that nothing happens. You know what I mean? But I think we've talked through like, okay, why is the brother there? Why is he so invested? Like, why is the grabber doing this? Blah, 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 in ways that made me feel much more positively towards the choices that the story made. And so I will be bumping up my rating a little bit. But for me, it was like a 2.75. Like, it was not quite a 3, which I would say is middle of the road. I just was like, it was a little too schlocky, a little too like heavy. I didn't think the script was very good, essentially. I thought there was some real potential, but that the script just didn't really like rise to the occasion.
I totally feel you.
Do you think this would be a good TV show?
I couldn't sit through 8 hours about kids being murdered. I mean, I could, I guess, but I don't know. Talk to me in a couple weeks.
I think you could do like a 5-episode mini series or something. You know what I mean? One for each like phone call, or you could do more phone calls with the individual kids, like, and that way it's not so. Yeah, and it's not so heavy-handed with here's the information that you need to have, and I'm giving it to you right away. Goodbye. They could like parse it out a little more.
I'd like a 7-episode, one for each of the boys, one for the grabber, and like a finale. Because I want to know like what his back, like I want to know more about his backstory, and like, each one can be like a phone call, and then we see like more of the boys' life,
instead of just
and
that
more
one moment with
flashbacks,
Bruce.
Right? And like, you know, less violence and more backstory. would be a good like mini
and then
episode. Like
you'd
episode
care about each of the boys more because you'd know more about them.
Yeah.
You'd have the information about who they were before, besides like 5 seconds that you're shown. Except you do get like
that's a really good idea.
like montage of Bruce's life as he grows up.
We get to see
ages,
more.
which was interesting.
More about Gwen and Finney's mom being psychic and like more about her abilities and stuff like that. So I think it could be a really
what
good,
was the dad like before? You know what I mean? So maybe we're rooting for him to be better at the end, and that he's made changes, and that he's realizing, oh, in an effort to protect my children, I was hurting my children, but I can change and protect them and be the father they deserve, etc. I think you're onto something.
Yeah, no, okay.
They should hire you.
You've convinced me, Sydney. That's it.
Hire me, and it would be great. HBO, hire me. Netflix, hire me. I've got ideas.
She's the idea girl. That's it.
Ethan Hawke still plays.
They could
the
even
grabber.
do it on AMC.
Yeah.
Where do they have this Sinner?
Yeah.
What show
FX.
does this Sinner? FX. Interesting.
And then we can have Matthew
USA
Lillard
Network.
play Max in the TV show. It's brilliant.
There we go.
That's perfect. That's perfect. Well,
That's
okay,
for
that
Sydney.
maybe for your TV adaptation, I'd give it a higher rating, but for this movie, I'm only giving it a 3. I had really high expectations for this because all they did was market it to me as like this amazing follow-up after Sinister, blah 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 blah. Sinister is one of my all-time favorite horror movies, so like this can't hold a fucking candle to it. It wasn't gonna be the same thing, but also I have higher expectations this year for horror movies. This year, we're getting banger after fucking banger. We've had like a blessed year. And it's probably because I was talking to my friend Hawk when we were watching this. And he was like, oh, it's because like there's a backlog of movies that were delayed during the pandemic. So I don't know. It's making me a fancy bitch now. I had higher expectations and it didn't meet them. It just made me feel sad. I saw this as a matinee, so I was like, oh, I'm in the middle of the day. I'm missing the sunshine to see all these dead fucking kids. I still think they fucking nailed the setting. The costuming was amazing. Sure. The mask work was incredible. All those kids are amazing. I can't wait to see what they go on to do. I hope this is like a launching pad a la It for like a bunch of child actors, and they do more horror stuff because all those It kids have gone on to do more horror stuff, and it's all been pretty fun. And I think good for them. I liked a lot of it, but I just overall the story made me sad, and it wasn't as vindicating because at the end of the day, even when you win, all those kids are still dead, so yeah. It's just sad. It's just a sad story. I like a little horror where everyone's dying, but I go ha too, and there's a little bit of a laugh. And you can't laugh as much when there's dead kids, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm so glad we covered it.
I did like that Gwenny called them motherfucking fart knockers or whatever it was. That was a good dig.
Fart knockers. We got a cunt thrown in there. It was great. It was fantastic. A lot of swearing.
But that was the only comic relief.
That was
a little kid saying bad words.
Exactly.
So they could have had, I don't know where the laughs would have come in, but it was just a nonstop sad fest.
Yep. And that's the Black Phone. But Sydney, don't we have something exciting coming next week that is less sad?
So next week, we are pre-gaming Shark Week.
Yeah.
And we're covering an absolute banger of a classic because, fun fact, one of my ex-boyfriends reached out to me and was like, when are you gonna do my favorite movie? And I was like, bet, right the fuck now. So we're gonna be covering Jaws in honor of Shark Week that is coming up.
I do want to be clear on the record. Ex-boyfriends should not feel free to reach out and request movies, but this one got lucky.
He got very lucky. He's lucky that his favorite movie is Jaws.
Is a
Jaws.
good one. Yeah. And that it is Shark Week coming up. Yeah.
So
he got lucky.
The timing was right.
You know.
But yeah, I mean, you remember last year, last summer, we did Sharky 2's Weeks, an incredible, easy to understand hashtag.
It's Sharky 2 weeks Or wait, what is it actually? Am I
Sharky
correcting when I'm wrong?
Weeks. Like Tuesday, but we say
Like
week.
Sharky
Tuesday.
Tuesday and Shark 2 weeks.
Yeah, it was
Yes.
both.
There we go.
Now it's just Sharky
It's gone now, though.
Tuesday.
Sharky Tuesday.
Shark 2 weeks. Sharky Tuesday.
Sharky
Thank you, Sydney.
But this one is a
Sharky
little
Tuesday.
easier because it's just 1 week. So I thought of saying it, the hashtag should be Sharky 1 week, which is literally terrible. And then Sydney was like, why not just Sharky Tuesday, you fucking idiot? So that's the hashtag.
We got Sharky Tuesday
next week.
coming to your ears next week. Sharky Tuesday.
But you know, if you want to call it Sharky 1 week, that's also cool. Terrible. Oh my god. Okay, so you know, we had fun even though we were talking about many children being murdered. Don't we have fun together? Why not give us 5 stars?
Yeah,
We're laughing and having a good time. I just want to say, last week I asked you to do some creative writing, and then Chelsea pointed you in the perfect direction to do a haiku, and one of you did it.
Whoever wrote an Ethan Hawke haiku. I said this once before, and I will say this again. You are my new best friend, and I love you.
It is.
Hi, Bessie. What's up?
It is incredible, and I'm gonna read it. I'm gonna read it really quickly. Just hold on 1 second. This is a 5-star review from EKT written on Spooky Tuesday's Apple Podcast page. It's titled Haiku, and it goes like this: Ethan Hawke, yes. Ethan Hawke, oh no no no. Maya Hawke, good.
They're right. They're right.
All right, Bessie. Yes.
Go off.
You don't even have to ask for your applause. You just get it.
Oh my god,
get
I was
it.
moved to tears. Wow, it was beautiful. It was
And what is
beautifully
it
done.
called, Monica?
It's just called haiku.
No. What
Haiku.
is this phenomenon called moving forward?
Oh my god, haiku review. Hashtag haiku review.
Please leave us
More haiku.
5-star haiku review. 5-star haiku review.
5-star haiku review.
5-star haiku review.
It's easy, okay? Haikus, I can't. What is it? 575, easy.
Yeah.
And you could write one about whatever movie we're doing this week, what we're doing next week, what we've done in the past, anything. A haiku.
write one about each of us.
I would love that. Oh my god.
I would love a haiku about myself, TBH.
All right,
I
you
will.
But
Like,
also,
I would
I'll
maybe
give somebody
tattoo
else
that on
the
my
chance
body.
first.
Yeah.
Well, whoever's is best.
I would tattoo it on my body.
It's a
You hear
competition now.
Fun fact.
You
I'll do
versus
it.
me.
Wow. Okay.
Come on,
This is an
listeners.
incentive.
Let's go.
Write a haiku. Write a haiku review about Sydney. Only positive. For 5 stars.
Don't write a mean one.
It is a roast. She does have to get it tattooed.
No. And she'll get it tattooed. I'm having a hard time speaking because I'm so excited about haikus. But anyway, that made our year. So thank you, EKT, my hero. And you can also rate us 5 stars.
Like, who says I won't get the Ethan Hawke tattoo
you might have to get
on
both.
me, TBH, like that?
It's really nice. It was
Incredible.
timely, it was beautiful. Gorgeous work. And then, you know, why not follow us on social media so you can see the process of Sydney getting the tattoo of your haiku live on Instagram Live. I don't know if she'd do that, but we are at spooky_Tuesday on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram, at Spooky Tuesday Pod on Facebook and Tumblr. And again, Letterboxd, it exists at Spooky Tuesday. Follow us there and watch our singular video on YouTube. Thank you for listening.
Bye, spookies.
You remember what I told you?
Someday I have to stand up for myself.
Someday is today, Finn.
Spooky Tuesday was created by Monica Haidt, Sydney Thompson, and Chelsea Duff, and edited by Sydney Thompson. Our gorgeously spooky tunes are all thanks to Tamara Simons, who you can follow on Instagram at Captain Tamara, and our podcast art is by Mary Murphy, who you can find on Instagram at _the_moon_omg.